Okay, part 2. This video is about finding the midpoint of a line segment. Okay, let's look at these two examples here first, 1 and 2. A straight line, very easy to find the midpoint, because if we consider this to be along the x-axis, I'm just going to take my first x point, my second x point, and find the middle. Likewise, for a vertical line, I can just look at my y-axis and very quickly determine the midpoint by looking across at my y-axis value. What about a diagonal line though? This is a little bit trickier because we have to remember that a diagonal line is not simply as long as the sides. Let's look at a box. Imagine that the sides of this box are 1 centimeter or 1 meter or whatever. We'll just call it 1. The diagonal of this box, is not 1. We know from Pythagoras' theorem that C is proportional to sides A and B. Just get rid of that 1 there, and I'll put in A and B. Okay, C squared equals B squared plus A squared, as we remember from the previous section. Okay, so it's not going to equal 1. It will actually equal, if we work this out, let me just get rid of this. Okay, C squared will equal 1 squared plus 1 squared. Obviously, that will be 2. Let's just move this over here. C squared will equal 1 plus 1 is 2. So C will equal square root of 2, which is not 1. It's about 1.3 or something like that. Anyway, let's move on. You will be asked to find the midpoint of a line segment given xy coordinates. Let's have a look at a common example. Find the midpoint of -5 and 7 and 7, -9. Now, as we remember from the previous section, we're just going to designate these as x1, y1, and the second coordinates as x2, y2. Okay, it helps us to, if we keep them in the same order, as a frame of reference. Okay, where's my delete? There we go. Okay, let's draw these points in to our graph here. Okay, -5 and 7 gives us a point right up about, I can never do this properly, about there. Actually, let me just make that a bit bigger. And I think we'll go for a different colour. We'll go for black. Okay, -5 and 7 gives us a point about, sorry about this, right about there. And 7 and -9, let's just make that -8, so it fits on our graph, gives us a point about there. Okay, now the midpoint. Let's not draw a line between these 2 points. Let's instead use the coordinate points and try and work out some sort of a formula to work out these middle points. What am I doing? Sorry about this. Let's get rid of that. I'll resize this. Okay. Now, -5 and 7, 7 and -9. Remembering that our x1 value is here, our x2 value is here, y1, y2. Think about the average of any 2 points. For example, if I had 8 and 10, the average, of course, is just adding those 2 numbers together, so the sum of x, divided by the number of numbers, n. In this case, 8 plus 10 divided by 2, of course, gives me 9. You can see that because you know it's the middle point between 8 and 10. So let's get rid of that. Using the same logic here, we can quickly work out a formula for our midpoint. Let's just say x1 plus x2 is the sum of x divided by 2, because there's 2 points. x1 plus x2 divided by 2 will give us the middle of the x coordinates. Same thing again for our y. Let's put a comma there. y1 plus y2 all over 2, because there's 2 points, gives us the middle point for our y coordinates. Now, using our example here, make that smaller, excuse my voice, x1 is -5, x2 is 7, so -5 plus 7 over 2, comma, and 7 plus -9 over 2 is going to be our y coordinate midpoint. Alrighty, don't be confused by negatives and positive integers here. You can just use your integer rules for adding those. -5 plus 7 gives us 2. 2 over 2, comma. Now, 7 plus -9, so that's the wrong one. 7 plus -9 is the same as saying 7 minus 9, because a positive and a negative together always makes a negative. So 7 minus 9, what do I do here? Sorry, 2 over 2. 7 minus 9 is -2 over 2, all bracketed. Okay, and we finally get 1, comma, -1 as our midpoint. Okay, 1, comma, -1 is our midpoint. Now, if you were to regraph those, which I won't do now, but you would find that this point, we'll just make that a little bit bigger, 1, -1, about there, is our midpoint. This is the end of part 2.